Hey Baddie and Business family, my name is Isabella. I am the owner of two six-figure earning online businesses. And today I'm going to be telling you my story of how I built a successful dropshipping business at the age of 17 years old. The point of this video is to share with you that there's so many creative ways you can make money online no matter what situation you are in. And that is why I've dedicated myself to creating free content in order to help you guys find different alternatives that nobody else is talking about online. I literally didn't have anything to do except sit in my room all day. I was going through many struggles in my life, and I wound up cutting off all of the friends that I had. So while a lot of people were going out and hanging out with their friends and enjoying their teen years, I was struggling with depression, social anxiety, and so many other things at the time. But instead of sitting in my room and victimizing myself, I knew that I had the power to change my life long term, even if I didn't see it right at that moment. I did not want to be a victim to my own life at the time. And because of hearing the financial stress in my household often, because my parents did work paycheck to paycheck almost the majority of their lives, I knew that money at the time was a way for me to change my life. And if you would have asked me back then where I had found this kind of guidance and motivation to try to just go online and find ways to make money, that is a question that at the time I could not answer. And because of all the social struggles that I had outside of the house going on, my mom had even taken away my cell phone. At the time, all I had was an old Windows laptop, a Wii that I could surf the internet with, and video games. So instead of sitting there and playing video games, I decided to use my laptop to try to change my life in some way. At this same time, I didn't even have a Facebook page. All I had was a Twitter account. So when I was 16 years old, I started a Twitter account because I loved to go on Twitter and read the quotes that people were retweeting and really just getting inspired by other people. It really uplifted me at that time in my life. So I decided to try to do the same thing. I created a Twitter and I started just posting a bunch of different tweets. I followed a lot of people, they followed me back. I had tactics through social media that helped me gain a following. And remember, Instagram wasn't even a thing back then. So really it was just Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr is all that people used back then. So as I grew my Twitter, I started meeting different people on the Twitter platform. So I would just be talking to different people every day. And someone mentioned this group, and it was a Telegram group that helped people to grow their Twitter accounts. So of course I joined it because at the time I knew I could make money from Twitter somehow. So I joined this group, and what this group was doing was it helped others to grow by retweeting each other's tweets. And if you're unfamiliar with how Twitter is, it's basically like you're resharing other people's tweets. So we were doing that back and forth to gain a following. So at that time, I started to see how powerful Twitter really was. I could reach whole new groups of people by trading off tweets with other people. Back when I was 17 years old, dropshipping really wasn't a thing like it is today. So I started to see people marketing online stores through these tweet for tweets. And I started to wonder, if they're doing it, why can't I? And at the time, dropshipping was something that was so unheard of. No one was selling courses on dropshipping. Nobody had these big YouTube channels capitalizing on dropshipping. There was none of that at this time. So I just reached out to some of the other people that I had in my groups that I was retweeting back and forth with, and they wound up telling me what they were doing. So being broke and 17 years old with just some money that I had saved up, I didn't want to just dump the little bit of money that I had in order to start a business that I really didn't even know would go anywhere. So I found that platform that was $0 monthly and completely free for me to use. These are the same techniques that I talk about in my dropshipping free course video. So if you haven't already watched that free course video, I highly recommend you checking that out if you're interested in starting to dropship. So what I did to find products was I went through AliExpress at the time and tried to find crop tops between $1 to $2. Obviously, I picked ones that I thought were cute, and they did have a lot of trending crop tops at the time. I also did the same exact thing with phone cases. Back when I was 17, there was not as many clothing online stores as there is today. Shein was not a thing back then. None of these stores were popular to where you could find affordable fashion. Like, you had to go to the mall for that. And not a lot of people knew about AliExpress either. So I picked a really random shop name and I added a bunch of different products to this shop. I had 5 at the time because that was what was included in the free plan. Then I made some tweets and I just used the pictures that were on the AliExpress website from the supplier. Then I created a different Twitter account, different than my personal account, to showcase these products on, and for that Twitter account to be like my store's Twitter account to appeal to other people so they see that I'm a legitimate business. Here is an example of one of my posts that I did on Twitter. You guys can see this had tons of retweets, which means so many people reposted it, and it had so many likes. So I gained a lot of customers just from these tweets, especially because the link was directly included in the tweets. It made it so much easier for the customers to buy. So kind of like how I teach on my YouTube channel how to use organic TikTok marketing, I was doing the exact same thing, except it was Twitter free marketing back then. And although I don't use Twitter anymore, people still do make money promoting their businesses on Twitter. Then I had to work up the courage to ask my mom to make me a PayPal account. I was almost 18 at the time, so she just helped me set it up. And then when I was 18, I switched it over to it being my own account. But I will never forget, my mom literally thought I was doing something illegal. She thought I was going to be arrested. I'm like, Mom, I'm not doing anything illegal. Like, she did not even believe that I could even make money from Twitter or from doing anything on Twitter. At this same exact time, I was working 2 jobs, and I was also making money by promoting other people's smaller accounts on Twitter. And I just did that by messaging different brands and asking them if they wanted promotion. This was usually other smaller businesses. So I set up my shop and I added my products. I did this for at least 5 months, and I'll never forget, we went to Ohio just to see some family. I never did any traveling when I was younger, just because it was something that was known to be expensive. The only kind of trips we took were road trips, so we went to Georgia a couple times and Ohio. So at this time, we were in Ohio seeing our family, and I'll never forget, I had a viral tweet, and this single tweet made me over $1,000 in 1 week. So I was completely shook by that. After telling my mom, she still didn't approve of what I was doing. And both of my parents always just told me, make sure that you're just doing what you need to do, stay in school, because at this time I was paying for dental assisting school, which dropshipping helped pay for. At this time in my life, I had reactivated my Facebook as well, and I started promoting products that I was selling locally too. Once I started making money from the initial dropshipping site, then I took that money to buy inventory to actually ship my own inventory. I wanted to learn how to ship my own inventory because I had a feeling that that was another way that I could make money from, because I saw that a lot of those suppliers had very slow shipment times. So even though I did order some inventory, a lot of my suppliers had slow shipment times because I didn't have the skills to find US suppliers like I do now. I also had to deal with a lot of customer emails that literally stressed me out so much because I did not have control over my own product since I was dropshipping. Here's some emails of how I dealt with these issues. If you are dropshipping or planning on dropshipping, these are emails that you will receive from customers, especially with shipping updates and things like that. So here's how I dealt with it. And this is specifically what I said back to these customers. Also, some of the clothing that I was dropshipping also was not the best material, and I was getting a lot of complaints about the material. And me back then not knowing how to deal with customer service, I got so stressed out, and with my parents saying that I can't do it long term, and me listening to everybody else in my life, and me just thinking, okay, well, I'm a dental assistant now, I can just do what I'm doing as a dental assistant, I shut my store down. And at the same exact time, my Twitter accounts had gotten banned. And the reason why they were banned was because they were using this retweeting program. People were unfortunately using that kind of program, obviously not my group, but other people on Twitter were using that kind of style of retweeting for political reasons. And you guys know that, that's definitely getting shut off if anybody's doing that for political gain. So unfortunately, they banned all of those accounts that were involved in any sort of retweet for retweet service. So at this time, I was super disappointed, and instead of believing in myself and pushing forward and just trying something different, I was then looking into going into dental hygiene school, which is a very strict program in college. I started to look towards other ways of how my life was going to be routed. At the end of the day, I still made great money from that dropshipping store, and it funded me going to dental assisting school. I became a dental assistant, and then from there, it helped me pay for my car at the time. So me developing this dropshipping store not only gave me so much experience at the time, but it also gave me a good side hustle that was able to then further my life in some way. So I gave up on my e-commerce journey until 2020. Once I discovered TikTok, I saw TikTok as a way in. And if you guys are familiar with my story, how I turned $100 into $400,000, you would know then where my life picked up from there. Thank you so much for being here, for supporting my own channel, and I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here. If you haven't already, you already know, hit that subscribe button and like this video for the YouTube algorithm so my story has the ability to reach others across YouTube and to inspire others as well. Of course, if you have any questions about my own life, or if you have questions about your own, leave a comment down below and I try to respond to all of my YouTube comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone!